What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. So, today is the last day trading for the week. And just a quick recap: Monday, $3,000 fully funded that account. Started a fresh account yesterday and took a $1,000 loss, my max loss, but my drawdown increased $500. And so I had about $950, something like that, of drawdown available before this account was blown. So I came in this morning with some lessons from yesterday, and I said, okay, if I get up above 300, but I'm not up at 800, I'm cutting it out. So I learned a big lesson yesterday. So today I learned another lesson. So I knew I needed to be extremely cautious with this, and I needed to make sure all the boxes got checked for the trade that I was taking. So when I came in this morning, I was looking. I said, I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna wait for a trade, and we crossed below VWAP, and we started pulling back up. And I said, great. When we pull back up to VWAP, hopefully it'll give me an entry that I can take. And as we pull up to VWAP, we wick down, we push back up, we wick down again, we push back up, we wick down again. And when we did, I said, if we break below this candle here, I'm gonna go short and trade down. Well, I didn't realize when I was doing this, and I guess this is a drawback of looking at two different charts because my EMAs are on different levels on the charts. On the 1 minute, my EMA is down here on this trade at 41. On the on the 2 minute, my EMA is at 43.50. So up here. So I took the trade off of the 2 minute, and then came over here and realized, crap, we rejected off of the VWAP. Again, this is the 1 minute chart here. I was like, crap, we rejected off of the VWAP, but we're sandwiched between this VWAP, and then I didn't even realize either we were sandwiched between the midline. We had now crossed above the midline for the day. So I was like, crap, this is not good. And then when we started pushing up, instead of letting it just stop me out, because my stop was up here at 43.75, instead of letting it stop me out, I hit reverse. Now I hit reverse about right here at 42.50, but it was, such a bad slippage and everything that it failed me at 43.25. That's part of hitting market orders. This should have never happened. I should have left this alone and not reversed it, because then we came back down, and I was like, crap, why did I do that? And I reversed it again. So I got in my own head here. And this is something you cannot do. You just cannot trade like this. So this is something that I hope I never do again. I've got to stick to my guns on this. But as we came back down, we pushed down, we broke through the midline, and then we came back up. So I moved my stop to break even plus one of this entry here. Now my initial entry was at 41.25. Had I left everything alone, I could have moved it to 41, and then I would have been fine. I would have break even plus one, but I would have still had my entire $900 drawdown to trade with. But because of this reverse and this reverse, I was down like 750 bucks. So I only had like $200 left to trade. So then I waited, and I said, okay, we pushed on up. We pushed above VWAP. We came down. I really wanted to take this trade here, but I was like, nope, I got to be more patient. Got to be more patient. I want like a 1 point stop if I could get it, and this one wasn't. It was like a 2 point stop, um, because I knew I had $200 left, and two of my trades, my 1 point trade and my 5 point trade, are $250 risk. Everything else is a higher risk. So I've got to figure out a way to slow crawl these accounts back if I ever get down. So we pushed on up. We just grinded higher and higher and higher. This would have been a phenomenal trade to have been in long here. We didn't even come back to the opening range. So we came up and then we came down. I said, I'm going to try to find an entry to go short just real quick because we fall fast. And I was looking at this candle here when we were putting it in, but we fell literally in like a second. Flash crash down, and then we came back up and pushed back down again. So I was like, okay, if I can get in this trade short here, then I should be all right. So I'd done a 1 point stop, 53 to 54, and it just didn't. It chopped me up, and that's what the market will do. The market, I've heard it said before, the market will remain um, insolvent longer than you can remain liquid or something like that. Um, so the market just stopped me out because I was in too risky. Had I done a 5 point trade here, I would have been fine, and we would have pushed down. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm gonna take some time and think about it and see what I want to do, because when I put these trades on, obviously the risk is 250. But if I'm trying to slow crawl an account back, what do I do? Do I take little short $100 trades, $200 trades just to lock up some profit? do I need a scalping ATM strategy that at $100 or $200 stops it, regardless of the risk that I can use in cases like this? I like to stick to a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, but uh, having very little drawdown really plays with my mind. So that's something I've got to work with. Hopefully, I don't get back in this situation ever again, but I'm sure it's going to happen because you don't have winning days every day. But this all would have been avoided had I just walked away with my $300 profit instead of losing down to $1,000, because I would have started today with $2,300 in drawdown and wouldn't have had all this pressure on me. So, and that's another thing. I shouldn't have came into today worried about yesterday as well, because today's a new day. The market doesn't care, and you got to trade the market for what it is for that day. And I let all of those things compound on me today and cost me some problems. So this account is blown. It'll reset in July. I've got two new accounts, or not two new accounts, but two accounts that'll be resetting in June, on June 24th. So until then, it's just my funded accounts to trade if I choose to trade them. So we'll see how that goes. Coming back Monday, we'll see how I feel, and we'll see what the market's doing, and we'll go from there. So hopefully you've learned something from my mistake. That's the whole point of me making these, is for me to go back. Let me talk about that for a second. I spent years trading. I would come in, I would open up the market, I would trade, I would shut it down, and I would walk away. No note taking, no looking back at what I did wrong, no nothing, just going with the flow and all of that. So now I've started tracking my trades. I use TradeZella, and I download my report from Rithmic and put it in there. It tracks all my trades. I take screenshots. I upload everything into TradeZella. I have a trade plan where it's an RBI, it's a green overtakes red, it's a orb, whatever the trade is, or it's not in my trading plan. And that's what these trades are going to be today. They are not in my trading plan. I do not have a scalping trade in my trading plan. So the trade yesterday that made me the $300 wasn't in my trading plan either, technically. So, but that's some of the things that I'm working on. And since I've been working on that, things have made a drastic improvement. I have a journal that I write down every day, my thoughts and my feelings when I'm done after trading, what I realize that I've done wrong and what I've got to prevent and what I need to work on. And through this process, I'm sitting on 4 funded accounts right now. And yes, I did blow this account today, but I also fully funded one on Monday. So it's, I'm getting better, and my process is getting higher. My P&Ls are getting higher as time goes by, because I track everything regardless of the trade. So in TradeZella, it's showing, my total amount of money that I've made over the amount of time that I've been tracking it. So I'm in the green. Had these been normal accounts and not accounts with a trailing drawdown and everything would be different as well. If this was my own account with no stop outs like that and having to start over, I would be in the green. But I have to continue this process as I go. I'm capping myself at $1,000 loss and allowing things to go from there. So even when I start trading my own personal account, it's going to be the same rules. That's what I'm doing through this, is I'm building up my rules and I'm building up my processes, and I'm using the funded accounts to do that. And then as I start taking withdrawals, not only will I pay myself, but I'll fund my own personal account, and then I'll start trading that alongside everything as well. And then it'll be off to the races, in a whole new league at that point. So again, hopefully you've learned something from this. These are my daily vlog recap videos for my personal betterment, but hopefully you can learn from it as well. So as always, if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will do anything I can to help, because I want to see everybody succeed. And hopefully you have a wonderful holiday, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.